Centennial. Today is Friday, February 6th, and you're watching Titan TV. I'm Abby O'Brien.
And I'm Kristen Espinosa. Teenagers today face a lot of peer pressure and difficult decisions, and some individuals find themselves turning to smoking. Here's Jonathan with more.
Each day in the United States, more than 3,200 people younger than 18 years of age smoke their first cigarette, and an estimated 2,100 youth and young adults who have been occasional smokers become daily cigarette smokers. If smoking persists at the current rate among youth in this country, 5.6 million of today's Americans younger than 18 years of age are projected to die prematurely from a smoking-related illness. This represents about 1 in every 13 Americans aged 17 years or younger alive today. James Caldwell has many years of experience in dealing with teens who smoke.
Most reasons that people start smoking, one is because their parents do. A lot of times if parents do, friends do, you're a lot more likely to. But it's just like anything else. It's just a lot of to do with peer pressure, people wanting to belong. Some people do it to deal with depression, to deal with stress, just trying to find ways to deal with problems, whatever the problems might be. It's the same reason people drink or use drugs. It's just a lot of times people start by smoking. The good thing though is only about 8% of teenagers actually smoke. About 22% will try it at one point, but only about 8%. So 92% of the students, at any school you go to, don't smoke. Nicotine is one of the most highly addictive substances known, so that's the main reason that people become addicted. Nobody sits down the first time they smoke or dip, get a chew, or they think, I just want to become addicted, and have this become a lifelong problem.
Smoking can have a bigger impact on someone's life than they ever intended it to be.
It never becomes a huge issue for them. And other people start smoking. We know about 30 to 40% of people who start smoking will never stop. And it'll end up causing some lifelong problem, cancer or whatever effect it might have. I think that one of the best ways that you can help a friend not smoking, obviously, is not smoke with them, because we tend to hang around people who do what we do. So if you hang around people who smoke, you more times than not will smoke. If you drink, you hang around people who drink, you'll most often drink. It's very difficult to hang around those people and not do that. That's why we do it. We hang around people who do what we do because it makes it seem okay. If you're smoking, I'm smoking, and it's okay, then it's no big deal. And a lot of times people, when I tell them only about 8 to 10% of people smoke, they'll say, well, that's not true, all my friends smoke. That's because they're hanging around people who smoke. People who don't smoke don't come to school and go, oh, I don't smoke. It's the people who do things like that, mention that they do, and then we just assume everybody is. I think one of the main things that we can learn about dealing with any drug is to learn the reasons behind why we take them. And that's mainly to fit in. It's mainly a sense of belonging. It's mainly just a way to deal with life stresses. So one of the most important things you can do to become addicting to, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it might be, is to focus on healthy stress management. People who know how to handle stress well don't often smoke because they're dealing with boredom, issues of feeling down, whatever it might be, in a healthy way, whether it's through exercise, listening to music, praying, calling a friend, just talking with somebody about it, just learning healthy stress coping mechanisms.
Craving is temporary, but the damage to your lungs is permanent. Which suffering will you choose? This is Jonathan Luke for Titan TV.
In the past couple weeks, everyone's been swarming to theaters to check out the new war film, American Sniper. Joe gives us an inside look on how some people with military history connect with the movie.
The newly released movie American Sniper is full of military assaults and intense action, but it also shows a side of the military that a lot of people don't think of. Military families have to face extended periods of time away from their loved ones. We dove further into the struggles of military life by talking to a few of our Titan family members.
My husband is a first lieutenant in the United States National Guard.
My dad, Robert Bartruff Jr., is a contractor in the Army.
Yeah, my dad spent 25 years flying. By the time I was 10 years old, he was gone 5 years out of my life.
The first time my dad was being deployed, he came and woke me up. And he didn't sugarcoat it for a kid, which normally most people do. He said, I'm going to go fight bad guys and I might not come home.
When he's not home, I'm always in fear that he's in harm's way, but I still choose it because life is certainly better with him than without him.
Going on deployment meant I actually did leave my wife at the time and go to different parts of the world. So the first couple weeks of leaving is difficult. And then the 2 weeks of, it's never going to get here, it's never going to get here. It's just as bad going out there until finally that one day that you walk off the plane and there they are, and it's been months.
When he comes home, he's dealing with everything he's seen, so it's always like distant.
The biggest difference when he's deployed is that my number one emotional support system isn't there. So I have to find that emotional and mental support in other places like my family or my good friends.
No one realizes the danger that's in until they have to deal with a family member there or until they're in it themselves.
But you got to realize that if you sign on the dotted line, that might cost you your job and your life and everything else.
I hate him going overseas because it's like you never know when he's going to come back and you never know how he's going to come back.
If you're killed, now that absence is not filled by anybody else. If you've got kids, they have just lost a parent. Most people don't think about that.
As you can see, being a part of a military family can be difficult and emotionally stressful. Be thankful for the sacrifices that the men and women of our military make every single day for our freedom.
We all know that freshman year can be a struggle. Michael asked some of you for advice you can give for incoming freshmen.
We've all been freshmen at some point, so we know it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first settle into the halls of Centennial. On January 26th, the 8th graders from Clark and Western Middle School got their first taste of what it's like to be a high schooler at Rising Freshman Night. We asked some current high schoolers for some advice for the rising freshmen. What advice would you give soon-to-be freshmen?
They need to just relax a little bit because high school can be really intimidating, but once you get there, it's not as hard as it sounds.
Just get through the year, basically. Just try your best and do whatever you can.
Make sure to find which side is A hall versus B hall so you don't walk into the wrong classroom and sit down and actually wait a class period until you find out that it was the wrong class.
Just don't be like the stereotypical freshman. Like, we're not going to beat you up, we're not going to shove you into lockers, so just be cool about it.
What was the hardest part of the first week of freshman year?
Just making friends, honestly, because I went from different schools.
I guess the hardest part would be trying to figure out my classes still. Trying to find the best way to get there early and on time.
I guess the hardest part was picking which food to eat because there is a lot.
Probably classes. After the first week, that was super easy. Just getting my bearings and knowing who my friends were and everything.
Just adapting to being in like a new environment with new people was probably the hardest part.
Yeah.
Are there any clubs or organizations that you would recommend freshmen join?
I would recommend the speech, interp, and debate team, primarily because it's just a good environment to be in and it has a lot of good people, but also because of the skills that you learn just being in debate one. So that definitely helped me out a lot freshman year.
Well, I would recommend maybe the French club if you're interested in that. You get food and all that, and maybe computer science if you're interested in working with computers.
Swim team, because we don't have very many swimmers, so come try out for the swim team.
Last question, are fish friends or food?
Both. You could be friends with your food. It's kind of weird, but I mean, I've seen someone walking around with a watermelon, so you could be friends with food.
They're pets. They should be put in an aquarium and stared at intensely.
Remember, Titans, fish are friends, not food. This has been Michael, Titan TV.
Last weekend's Super Bowl left fans either ecstatic by the win of their favorite team or devastated by their team's loss. Zach talked with some of you to get your opinions and reactions.
Hey Titans, this is Zach with Titan TV. As you all are aware, the Super Bowl happened this past Sunday with the Rangers going up against the Mavericks in a very close game. And Coach Tiger Woods making a very bad call with the, what was that? Wrong game? What? Oh, okay. Well, I managed to get an interview with those who know more about it than I do. So who you want to win during the Super Bowl and why?
Well, since my Cowboys are out, it was a catch, by the way. But I got to go Seahawks because Seahawks are the better team here.
I'm rooting for the Patriots because they're the best team.
Alrighty, what do you think of the so-called Deflategate? It's not a surprise. The Patriots cheated before. That's what they do.
Okay, so in the middle of the game, it got cold. So when things get cold, things get less dense and get smaller.
And if you could say anything to the opposing team, what would you say to them?
They suck.
Well, I tell them they can read our playbook all they want, but there's no way they can stop it.
The 49th Super Bowl ended with the Patriots winning 28-24. I spoke to my interviewees again to ask them about what they thought about the game. So, what were your thoughts about the game last night?
Don't want to talk about it, man. No.
So good. So good.
What are your thoughts on that second to last play with that throw?
I'm just happy to be here, Zach. I'm just happy to be here.
It's terrible. We should have run it. We have Marshawn Lynch.
And what are your views on next year?
They're going to win next year and the year after that. They're going to win like every year that counts.
Well, hopefully Pete Carroll decides to make the right calls this time. So we should be fine if that happens.
Congratulations, Patriots. This is Zach Forrest, Titan TV.
Now congrats to these English Spotlight students: Allison McGraw, Joanne Shu, Eliana Klein, Bae Bachman, Deborah Walker, Luke Ellis, Molly Sullivan, Jackie Kim, Michelle Preston, Ellie Rogers, Jack Hartzell, Sarah Hendrickson, Kenneth Kim, Elise Torres, Katie Davis, and Nicole Sun. Congrats to all of you guys.
Hey Titans, I'm Mitchell with your sports update. Boys basketball played against Wakeland last Friday and crushed them 73-54. Dylan Crawford scored 25 points and Jonathan Washington added 19 points. On Tuesday, they faced off against Liberty, unfortunately coming up short, losing 49-43. Jonathan Washington led the Titans with 11 points. Girls basketball also took on Wakeland last Friday but couldn't pull out the win, losing 57-52. Ariane Hodges scored 17 points for the Titans. They faced Liberty on Tuesday and weren't able to grab a win. Come out tonight and support our basketball teams as we take on Little Elm here at home. Boys soccer looked to continue their undefeated season against the Colony and accomplished it as they beat the Colony 1-0. Trent Merrill scored the only goal. Good job, Titans. The girls soccer team also faced the Colony and the hard-fought game ended in a 1-1 tie with Ashley Andrews scoring the one goal. The soccer teams play Liberty tonight here at home. Come out and support. The swim team is competing in the Regional 5A Diving Championships today at 5. Good luck to our swim team. Our wrestling team has been doing very well this year. Katie has more on their recent accomplishment.
Recently, our Centennial Wrestling team won the 5A Texas High School Wrestling Coaches Association State Dual Tournament at Wakeland High School. 16 of the best schools from across the state qualified for the tournament. At the competition, the wrestlers were put into brackets by weight class and earned team points as they competed for the individual titles. The title of state champion came down to the final match, with our Titans coming out on top. Make sure you congratulate all of our wrestlers for this amazing achievement. Come out and support your Titans at the Colony by filling the student section as they compete at districts today and tomorrow. This is Katie, Titan TV.
That's it for this week's episode of Titan TV.
Have a great weekend, Titans.